Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Hey you guys, Mark, Centerline Systems, and in this video we're gonna talk about something that's pretty dear to my heart, and that's a product that we make exclusive for Black Scout Survival. It's the medical deployment pouch, or the MDP. This was a collaborative effort between Jack and myself. I think he reached out to me about 2 years ago and started to talk about this. And you know, I'm kind of winging it here a little bit, but I think we've got about 40 years of combined real life experience using medical stuff under duress or when it matters, right? You know, so from my previous life and the downrange experiences and his in the Marine Corps, you know, this is something, and I think that's why I'm saying this is really a product that's dear to my heart, is because this is what I wanted to have. And so, you know, I'm using a reference to, like, you know, more military tactical type of stuff, but this isn't a tactical product, right? This bridges the whole gap, you know, the whole spectrum of, you know, whether you're just taking your kids to and from school or soccer or whatever the case is, to you're one of the great men and women, you know, downrange, you know, keeping our country safe, your law enforcement, you're a wilderness, doing some really serious wilderness survival or hiking or hunting. Like, this is a great product and I'm really proud of it. And as I just said, a lot of it is because this is what I always wanted in the med kits that I used to carry. And, you know, I guess on that note, that's a kind of a little side story, you know, about Centerline Systems. You know, everything that we make has its derivative or its history, you know, comes from like, oh, I wish I would have had this, or no one else is doing this and I want one of these, so I'm going to make it for myself. And that's really how the business started. You know, when I first left and I came back home, I took a year off, and I missed hunting and fishing. And so that's all I did for a year, just kind of getting my head back together. And I just took a year off, and I was noticing that there wasn't a lot of, at that time, you know, good gear out there in that hunting outdoor world. And I was pretty spoiled because my whole, like, previous life, we were pretty much able to modify gear as much as we wanted, and we had all this kind of, like, you know, access and other companies kind of reaching out to us, and so I kind of then like, oh, why can't I get this here? Why can't I get that? So I just took some of my downrange gear and I started modifying it. And then how the business came about is, like, then, you know, a year later, somebody's like, hey, where'd you get that? I'm like, well, I made that for myself. Well, make me one. And you can see how that goes. So this product right here is kind of along that same lines. You know, Jack reached out to me and we were talking, like, you know, hey, I always wanted a med kit to be able to do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I wish I could have had this, or, you know, like, you know, because everything used to be super small and I couldn't carry the gear I wanted. Like, you know, all you had was your field dressing pouch, or it was, you had to carry the CLS bag, you know, a giant bag with all the medical gear. And I'm like, yeah, but there's so many different medical situations I might encounter in my everyday. I want to have that ability to kind of be more broad spectrum and to be able to deal with a lot of other things. And that's what I think that I believe, honestly, you know, and I know this is going to sound biased because I make it, but that's what we came up with, the MDP, and I think we nailed it and knocked it out of the park. And again, it's one of those things that no matter what, I wish I would have had this, and I'm glad I have it now. And so on that note, I think I'm just going to kind of do a once over regarding this product. Like, Jack's got a whole bunch of videos so you can see some of the loadouts and the different configurations. I'm going to kind of give you the big picture of it. And on that note, I'm going to, within the next couple weeks, I'm going to have a page up on our website. So you might see this video before it's on my website, but I'm going to have a page for this product on the website. You can't buy it from me. As I said, we make it exclusive for Jack over at Black Scout, but I'll have the page up with a description and pictures, and then I'll have a hyperlink so you can go to his website and you can purchase it from him. But so on that note, just kind of going around, I'm just going to start on the back side first. So it's MOLLE compatible. So again, whether you want to put this on the outside of a rucksack, if you're wearing a plate carrier, you want to put it on your cummerbund, I don't know if that'll show up, you want to put it someplace else on your person. You can also take this MOLLE, instead of weaving it through the item, the gear, the item, the gear, you can actually skip the top row, go to the bottom row, and you make a channel. So you could put this on the waist pad of your rucksack, you could put this on your belt and carry on your person. And there's a great example of just another, you know, I always just really like the great stories. So a guy had reached out, and basically he went to a shooting range and he had this on his waistline, and the guys at the shooting range, the range master, was like, you know, hey, it's nice to see somebody's bringing a med kit to the shooting range, right? Because doesn't that make sense? Isn't that a place where you'd want a med kit? So he just had this on his waistline as he's doing it. And like, I've got mine pretty loaded up, and you can see it's not super, you know, thick, right? And that's got a lot of gear in here. more gear. I'm carrying more gear in this one little pouch than I ever had on my person back in the day, unless it was inside my rucksack or I had a much, much larger pouch. And so, again, that doesn't have to be downrange stuff. Another story, you know, and just, you can imagine this, but this is a story somebody conveyed to me as well. Hanging out with the family, and the kids are out skateboarding around, and, you know, one of the kids, you know, goes for a, you know, I don't know, I can't remember my skateboard terminology, but he tries to do something cool, you know, and wipes out and, like, you know, cuts himself, and he's bleeding, you know, kid stuff, and everybody's like, ah, and the guy's like, I got the gear, I'll take care of that right now. Grabs his med kit, pulls out his stuff, you know, bandages the kid up, and like now the family's back to having family time and enjoying it. And that's all from just being able to carry this. So that webbing on the back, you know, you can imagine, so if this was my car seat, you know, my head's here, this is the front of the vehicle, I could mount this to the back of the car seat on my vehicle, and I could just always have that, as long as I'm with my vehicle, that's always with me. Then I could undo that strap, and then I could put this on my waist, I could throw it inside my rucksack, I could put this inside my glove box. And I always screw up what the name of that little divider is between the two seats, but Spoon was about to try to whisper into the camera what the name of that was. You know what I'm talking about, but you could fit that inside in there as well. You can throw it into your everyday bag. So it's got a great convenient size, and it can be carried and worn in a whole bunch of different configurations. Now, going into some of the, I think the unique features of it, or just the features that I think make it unique, and that, again, I take great pride in, because a lot of this has to do with, like, my real world experience, and one of them is like the medical shears. So medical shears are more than just like for cutting band-aids. These medical shears are a great tool. You can use them in so many different, you know, configurations, or in different situations. But so, you know, rather than having this and, you know, this is located someplace else, you can have that now mounted to the outside of the MDP. But here's kind of the nice thing about it, is everything about this product is gross motor skill. Now, somebody might argue, well, you can train yourself to fine motor skill. Yeah, well, fighter pilots train to fine motor skill capabilities. But think about all the time and the training and the effort that goes into train somebody. You know, surgeons train to fine motor skills. So fine motor skills, you know, your ability to do really fine actions under stress, under duress. Well, that's not what most people do. You know, I might screw this up a little bit, but we usually, you know, sink to our highest level of training. And more often than not, that's a reliance on gross motor skills, that big caveman, you just grab things. So if you look at how the medical shear is actually contained into the MDP, it's a gross motor skill thing. I can just reach down, and there's an oversized tab. And another kind of unique story about this oversized tab, and I'm going to show you the deployment tab on the inside in a little bit, that actually comes from my second duty station. So this is back in the 80s. This is the height of the Cold War, and the threat of nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare was very real, right? We trained for it all the time, and we had, you know, protective masks or pro masks. So, you know, you have to tighten up your pro mask and get a good seal, and you have a very short period of time to do it, or you might be exposed to something that could kill you. So I learned it from, I think, a staff sergeant back then, and I'm sure he learned it from somebody else. But in order to be able to get that mask on and tighten it up really quickly, and like the adjustment points were really small. Okay, if I'm wearing gloves, I'm freaking out, I'm under stress, I'm not going to maybe grab those. So you just take 100-mile-an-hour tape and then fold it into big squares, and then tape that over those adjustment points. So no matter what, darkness, gloves, freaking out, freak factor 10, I could feel those, grab them, and I could just pull them tight real quickly. All right, so that's what you get here, is a gross motor skill, you know, to actually access, you know, that crucial piece of gear. And then before I go into the main compartment, I'm gonna go to the opposite side, and that's where a tourniquet is. Well, it doesn't have to be a tourniquet. It kind of, we designed it in with a tourniquet in mind, a TQ, but you could put other items here, because I want my tourniquet to be located where my medical gear is. Now, everybody, personal preference. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. Some people like having their tourniquets up on their shoulders, you know, down in their leg pockets, if you're doing the tactical thing, you know. But for most of us, you know, let's face reality, you know, this is in my vehicle. I want to be able to grab this off of my seat or out of that glovey or out of my bag, and I want to have everything that I might need right then and there. So a couple different types of tourniquets can fit in here, and the same thing, I can just yank that out, right? And then that goes into the main pocket and accessing the main compartment, and it also goes into another personal, you know, preference. And this is going to maybe sound weird, but I hate zippers, right? If you think about a zipper, zippers can get wet and they can freeze up. If you've ever tried to just jam your zipper open really fast, you'll see the material move and the zipper, you know, jam up. You know, the teeth can skip, the mechanism can skip off the teeth, and now that whole zipper thing's, you know, worthless. Another aspect, if you think about a zipper, you'd have to go into making an oversized tab, because most zippers only have a really small pull tab. So if you're wearing big gloves, think about that. You know, it's a really warm day here. So in northern Minnesota, we've already had like 6 snowstorms. You know, not too long ago, there was like 8 inches of snow on the ground. Now you can barely, I think you can see over the side, there's like a little bit of snow, and it's like 60 degrees today. But imagine if it was back into that, tons of snow, and it was freezing, because we were below freezing. I'm wearing gloves, right? So how am I, you know, you try to grab your zipper with a big pair of gloves on, right? So you're gonna have to oversize it. So that concept is what went into this, you know, talking with Jack, again, it's a collaboration. Like, I didn't want the opening to be zippered, right? I want the opening to be the same thing, and then so you can see it, right? It's easily identifiable, so you can see it, you know, a little bit more high vis. It also identifies this as a potential medical, you know, kit. You can put your own patch up here, you know, or other type of cool guy patch on the outside, but it's all Velcro, because it's a big gross motor scale, and it's not gonna fail like a zipper can potentially fail. And I'm assuming that you're gonna be under duress and you're freaking out. Like, again, your kid just hurt him or herself skateboarding. Doesn't matter if it's a non-life-threatening injury, that's gonna kind of freak you out, and you're gonna wanna rely on gross motor skills, not fine motor skills. And then, you know, so on the inside, I'm gonna end it on what I really like about it, you know, kind of going back into that gross motor skill. But on the inside, what's really nice is you have a whole bunch of elastics, so you can put different items here, whether it's a decompression needle, whether it's a pen, whether it's nitro gloves, you know, you can pick and choose. But those elastic sleeves go down into a pocket, which is also a pocket by itself, so it can capture the pen down below, but you can also put other items in here. So like, I've got electrical tape in here. Electrical tape's, you know, just another nice little item to have, you know, for medical related issues. But I could have put cards in here, like medical cards, other items of that nature. And then you have the main compartment, right? So you can put all kinds of different items in here. So again, I defer you over to Jack at Black Scout, because he works with North American Rescue. They sell a whole bunch of different great medical related items. And I don't want to misspeak and quote what he does or does not sell. You can get the pouch by itself, or you can get items to get it preloaded, or you can get your own items and make your own medical kit that is specific to you. For example, you might want an EpiPen, you may want diabetes related issues. You know, there's, so going back to the military, you know, so, you know, we only had a small little pouch for our field dressing, and I'm trying to remember the name of them, for nuclear, God dang it, why can't I think of it all of a sudden? Just give me a second. We're gonna pause. I'm gonna come right back. All right, because I know I want to mention this, and I'm trying to remember it. Atropine. No, we don't need to pause. But your atropine injectors. And I'm not saying you guys are carrying atropine injectors around, but it would have been nice back in the day if I could have carried my atropine pens in the same pouch where my tourniquet and all my other stuff was, right? So just kind of saying. But you can put your own kit inside of here. I've got my kit set up for something very specific, and doesn't need to bore you with that. But the other nice thing is that big, oh, it just kind of flopped down, is this right here. So we call this the deployment tab. So go back to that story I just mentioned about the pro masks and those oversized tabs. That's where this idea came from. So again, gross motor skills under stress, nighttime, I might be wounded, my hands might be slippery, it's wet, bleeding, gloves. But, you know, I open that up. And so when that opens up, you know, it's almost, you can just almost see that. It's, look where, how close my fingers are to that, right? Which is where I want to get it. And what's nice about this deployment tab is I don't have to like pull small items out of here, right? So this tab comes from here, it goes down to the bottom, across, and comes up, and then is secured right here. So what that allows me to do is gross motor skill, grab that, and I pull that, and you can see the products coming out, right? So these products will either come out on the ground right next to me or into my hand, depending on how it was worn or how it was carried. And then when I'm done, I can just push those products back, and you saw it just pulled that material back down, and I can just tuck it back in there and maybe use the term recharge it. I can recharge it, and then the next time I'm just pulling it, and that's all it is. And you can see how fast and easy it would be to access all of my main key medical items. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a boo-boo kit for, you know, your kid or for somebody else, or if you're hiking, and you can get a concept, you can get a grasp of all the different things that you could put in here, so you can tailor it to your environment and your needs. And then, but to recharge it, so there's all the excess material right now. I'm just pushing it back in there, kind of getting it recharged, and there it is reset, right? So just wanted to do a video. and I think I already said this, but we have shot this once or twice, but I'll say it again if I didn't already say it. I'm going to have these on my website. Now, I mentioned we sell them exclusively via, Black Scout Survival. You have to go to his website for it, but I am going to have a page on my website where you can see the product, see the write-up, and there'll be a hyperlink to his website where you can get it. Just it's a short little video, something I'm really proud of. I've just been kind of manhandling this the last couple days, doing some other videos, and I'm like, yeah, I got to do a video on this, and I'm just really proud of it. And it was great working with Jack as always, and it was a great collaboration based on a lot of real world experience. I mean, and I think I already said this, but that I think between the two of us, it's almost 40 years of real world hands-on experience using these type of products when it really matters. So a lot of thought and personal experience went into it, and I hope you guys appreciate that. And again, the other kind of biased thing is and it's our craftsmanship and our quality that goes into it. And I'm really, really proud of that as well. So hope you enjoy it. If you guys got questions, comments, you can reach out to me even regarding this product. But if you got, detailed questions or purchasing questions, that you're going to need to go to Black Scout Survival for. But I'm willing to help you out. So you know the deal. If you ever got questions, comments, reach out anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. That was kind of a stupid ending. So anyway, thanks guys. Be good. Woo!